Hello, everyone. Welcome to my podcast. I just want to thank everyone for tuning in. Thank you so much for the likes. Thank you so much for the comment, the love that you did on my podcast. Uh, yeah, I do appreciate it. Uh, Today, I want to talk about when we go to war. Okay. Uh, Before I explain that, some of you may listen to this podcast on my podcast. Some of you may listen to it will be like, why this guy is talking about how he's joining the military when they go and exercise, when they go to war. Why he's telling us about this? I'm telling you guys this for you guys to understand the situation, the life, the reality that we went through as a soldier when we was in the battlefield, when I was in the army, when my mates was in the army, when we were facing real situation in life. You know, mom and dad was not there. You know, your girlfriend, your wife, your boyfriend was not there. You know, the person next to you was your brother. You know, the girl next to you was your sister. You know, everyone become as one. We become as brother in arms and sisters in arms. You know, that's why I'm doing all this video. You know, I want to tell all this story to you guys, you know, on my podcast, for you guys to understand, because I'm not doing this to boast on myself. No, I'm doing this because I want you to know. I want you to know our story, or my story. You know, what we face when we go to war. When I was a soldier, you know, when my mate was a soldier, you know, I'm not doing this, you know, to be boastful of myself. No, I'm doing this because people out there don't know our story. You know, every people live in this world, we have our own story. We have our own legacy. You know, that's why I'm talking about the situation and what we faced when we was in a military life or soldier life. So I'm gonna talk about going to war. I must emphasize this. Going to war is not a peacekeeping. We are not those kind of people that when we go to war, we stand up on the front gate doing stags. No. Doing escorts. No. We don't do that. When we go to war, we mean we go to war. Because we were trained to go to war. We don't train to go for peacekeeping. So going to war, it's facing different kind of fear. The kind that stays with you. But one thing you must never forget, you were trained to be a fighter. You were trained to fight until the end. You know, I remember my first operational tour. It was in Northern Ireland, you know. That was the time I truly understood risk, you know. Food patrols, mobile patrols, every step, every movement, you knew your life was on the line, you know. And every time you made it back to camp alive, you didn't take that for granted, you know. And then when we go out on the ground, you know, you jumping fences, you know, in Northern Ireland, you know, you jumping fences, you're going for patrols for a week, you know, out on the ground, you know, and you're crossing farms. Sometimes you jump over the fence, you're crossing the farms. The farm owners, you know, they fire weapons at you guys, you know. You have to take cover, you know. Yeah. That time, Northern Ireland, they were ready at any time to fight, you know. they can fight British Army, they can fight any regiment. No one can beat them. Northern Ireland was completely different place, you know. No one can beat them, you know. They're smart, they know what they're doing. And the thing about Northern Ireland is you can't really say who's your enemy. Because when you mingle with them in town, they proper blending. They walk past you, you can't even tell that's your enemy. You know why? Because they are locals of that place. We were just there in Northern Ireland to protect the people, you know. Sometimes when we go on food patrols, after 1 week we got given a pick-up point where the helicopter's gonna come and pick you up from, you know. When you reach there, helicopter already gone, and we have to push for a few other days to stay out on the field. It was cold. Sometimes it was, you know, in the winter. We take it on the chin, you know. Because why? For the safety of the people. You know, we're not doing that for us. We're doing that for the people, to save them, you know. And then when we finished from Northern Ireland, we went to Iraq. Again, Iraq, it was completely different, you know. Iraq was not a joke. In Basra, that's where we stayed. We were under attack, day in, day out, mortars, RPGs, you know, there was no real rest in there. I'm telling you that. There was no real rest. Even when we eating, sleeping, training, we were in fully gear. Body armor, helmet, weapon, ready to go. Everything, all your kit in there. You know, sometimes attack came from the river, insurging, moving in boats, trying to hit us, you know. We were most easy target when we was in Iraq, you know. And when we left the palace, every time you get contacted, you know, no turning back in there, you know, no hesitation. Only thing we have to do is fight, you know. Get back to base is another thing, you know. First, you have to do your job, you know. First, you have to protect your mate, you know. You have to look after one another. And Iraq as well it's not something that we have to take it so lightly, you know, because when we go to Iraq is a place that war will never stop in there, you know. War will never stop in Iraq. It will keep on going on, you know. And in Basra Palace, the river next to our palace, it was the river of Babylon, you know. Different kind of people were fishing in there every day, you know. Excuse me. You don't even know who's a fisherman, who's the real fisherman, who's the insurgent, who's your enemy, you know. All those kind of things you have to know, you know. You have to study their pattern of life, you know. You have to know your enemy before your enemy knows you, you know. And sometimes when it's a good day, when we go, you think it's a good day when you in camp, okay. So when you leave camp to get into your bulldogs, bulldog is it's like a tank we use in Iraq. That's what we use to help us to go on a mobile patrol. So when we go on a patrol on bulldogs, you think it's a good day, you know. You'll be going out, you know, you'll have a good time, you know, nothing will happen. No, If you think like that, something seriously is gonna happen out on the ground on that day. You know, going to war, it's not going for shopping in a shopping mall. No, going to war is war means war. You know, you fight your enemy. You know, sometimes when we go out, we can empty all our weapons, like our magazines, you know, our belts, all empty. When we come back, we only have few ammunition with us, just to protect us until we reach back in camp. When we come back, and they will resupply us back with ammunition. So it's not a tough thing, you know. It's not a tough thing. Because some people they get killed in there, like in Iraq, you know. I remember in my platoon there's a guy. He got killed in my platoon. His name is Paul Donachie, you know, Rifleman Donachie. This guy, he was 18 years old, if I'm correct, 18 or 19 years old. He was a small kid, man. I remember this guy, when he comes in, first time I met him, I was just like, mate, you were so young, man. This place is not for you. And one thing with these young boys that I was in the military together, they have guts, man. They have guts. When we go to war, they can carry stuff on their back. They can go on for hours and hours, you know. They will shut their mouth. They will move on, you know. And one thing with these young boys that they join us when we was in Iraq is, you know, they have a willing to learn from any kind of thing. You know, they listen to any person. You know, they look at you. They, you know, they listen to what you going to tell them, because they know some of us, we've been in this situation before. Like for me, before I went to Iraq, I already been to Afghanistan. I know what Afghanistan is like, you know. So that is a big bonus for me, because when I go to Iraq, you know, it's similar like Afghanistan, but Afghanistan, it was worse than Iraq. And then most of the time, you know, when we in Iraq, we have to help those people who escort all these drivers that supply us food, you know, to come to Basra Palace, you know. And you know what? One thing is to really touch me is, you know, most of these drivers, some of them are old enough to be my dad. Fijian man. Erna turang ni bitch. Eran driver tu vena do kau ya wabu kitu Iraq. I kema mi Iraq. Some of them was really old, but they willing to come and do the job out there because of their wife, the daughter, the son, you know, the family. They wanna have a good family, you know. It's so touching, you know, when they drove past you guys, you know, when you see them on the street, you know. We used to call that operation is op housing, you know. When we hear op housing, inside me I used to feel sorry for the old man, you know, old Fijian man. Not only old Fijian man, you know, old men from Fiji, India, Bangladesh, you know, those people, you know, they came to Fiji, to Iraq, they came to Iraq just for the living of their family. You know, they're not coming to Iraq to do anything else, just to drive. Bear this in mind. Some of them, they haven't been in those hostile environment before. You know, some of them, they did that to risk their life just for their family. You know, sometimes way in, way out, they getting contacted, they getting IED, you know, they getting suicide bomber, you know, contacted them, you know. I remember there's an Indo-Fijian guy, the Indian guy, he's from Fiji. He got lost. He went on a wrong direction, wrong turnings, and he ended up in the middle of nowhere in Basra. And our team have to go and look for them. We rescued him. When we met him in the situation that he was in on that day, he was burst out in crying. He was crying, you know, when he saw all the Fijian boys was in these bulldogs, like 3 or 4 of us, like, only thing he was saying, man, I thought I'm gonna get killed. He was so happy, you know. He was so happy because, not because us as a Fijian. He was so happy because we were there with him on time to escort back him to the palace, or take him back to the palace, you know. Even though doing escort is not our job. But one thing I'm telling you guys, his life is very important, you know. That's a war zone. It's not a picnic place. The reason he was crying, because he was scared. Anyone can come there at any time and take his life away, you know. He was so blessed that day. He was so blessed, I must say that. He was so blessed. And then, after Iraq, we had Afghanistan. And for me, that's my second tour in Afghanistan. Afghanistan, that was something else, man. That was do or die. You know, the green zone, the desert, the poppy field, danger everywhere, you know. IDs, mine, like one wrong step, you know, and it's over. Your life, it's over. You know, we lost brothers out there, you know, all good men. You know, men who had families, kids, futures, you know. I will never forget, 7th of May 2009. We were tasked to clear this airstrip so supplies could get in our FOB. You know, so for everyone out there, when I say FOB, you know, it means Forward Operating Base. That's a short form how we call Forward Operating Base, a FOB. You know, so when we were like in Afghan that time, it was around midday, and we've been told to go on this airstrip, to clear this airstrip, so that helicopter can land it in, and we can have some you know, supplies, including rations, like fresh rations, so that we can eat good meals like chicken, lamb chops, we can have bread, we can have peanut butter, we can have butter, we can have you know, all normal groceries that we used to buy from the store. It gets supplied to us by helicopter. So yeah, when when my mate got killed in Afghanistan on the 7th of May, that day, it was a day that when we went out on the ground, it was 16 vehicles, 16 vehicles went out on the ground that day. And then I remember my vehicle was a first vehicle, my vehicle was a first vehicle. And my best mate vehicle was a last vehicle. And this guy, he's a very quiet guy, and this guy as well, he left the military for a few years, and then when we go to Afghanistan, he rejoined back again because he wants to go to Afghan with us. And then this guy, the first time he walks in our platoon office, he became my best friend. Like, he got all English mates there, the Fijian mates, everything, Soon as we had a conversation together, we click on just like that, me and him, For me, he's like a brother to me, And the day that he was killed, we were doing this, the clearance of this airstrip. We were doing step by step, like we always do in our training. Everything we do step by step. We do it slowly but surely, And then when we doing step by step clearing this airstrip, my vehicle was already ahead in front of them. Like, everything was ahead. Engineers was doing their stuff. They were doing their markings, where the helicopter's gonna land, where they're gonna put all these supplies, and all the rations, all the mails, and everything that we need for one FOB. All the engineers was doing all the mathematics for it, all the planning and everything, So we, as infantry soldiers, the only thing we were doing that time is we will watch out, we will look out. We had our lookout, we look out for any kind of danger that comes towards us. We're trying all our best to protect our mates that were doing the job on the ground, And while we were doing that, after a couple of minutes, maybe 30-40 minutes, we had a move again. And then that move was like our final move. And I remember that day I was praying to my own, like to my own self, like no one could hear what I say. And I remember, only thing I say is, thank you, Lord, for my life. And that's it. That's it. I didn't even say anything else. So when we moved, we have to move back to the FOB. The job is done. The job is done. All the markings, all the mathematics, all the planning, everything is done by the engineers. So we're going back. And this patrol, we had everyone there. The reason we have 16 vehicles, because we have the artillery guy, we have the engineers, we have the medics, we have our own team, that we went out together. And then we were like, I'll say 2 kilometers away from our FOB. I'll say 2 kilometers, 2 good kilometers away from our FOB. Only thing I can feel is one big blast hitting the bottom of our vehicle. And then everyone flying out, Everyone was flying out from their own vehicles. And then I remember When I fly it out, I hit the ground, my weapon still on me, everything. I stood up, I checked for my body, I checked for the brakes, I checked for any injuries, any place in my body got bleed, and it was okay, you know. So that day I thank God because I know He was next to me. He was there for me that day. I was so thankful, you know, God was there for me that day. And then after a few seconds I can hear it on the radio. People are saying on my radio is they need help. No, the boys need help on the ground. The boys need help. Only name that I can hear on the radio is Shirley, and the platoon sergeant got injured. Shirley is my best mate. His name is Adrian Sheldon. So we call him Shirley. Shirley got injured. By the time the medics arrive on their location, both of them, they have bleeding all over the place. Like blood was like so thick coming out from their mouth, coming out from their body. You know, it was really hard. You know, it was really hard. The time when we had that blast, enemies was attacking us from the mountains. Guys, this is happening in the middle of the desert, surrounded by mountains, rocky mountains. Enemies was hiding in the mountains. We have to fire back at them. We have to fire weapons back at them to stop them while medics doing their business, trying to get our platoon sergeant survive, get Sheldon survive. At that time, the boys had a brother in arms, heart that time. We're looking at each other and we were saying, these people are not getting us today. These people are not gonna do anything else from us. We're stopping them right now. Whether we finish all our bullets in here or not, we will protect these people. These two gentlemen will go back safe to UK and get treated properly. I remember as well, our comms, the radio that day, it was so busy. We don't have any chance to talk to the ops room. Like ops room was busy. Our boss was busy. Everyone was busy talking to the net that time. Only communication we can do, we can only use our personal radio for communication. But to talk on the big comms or network, you don't have any chance. Like people was so busy. Ops room was busy trying to get Casevac. You know, Casevac so that helicopter can come and pick up the two gentlemen and to be taken up to Bastion, you know, Camp Bastion. And then from there they get treated in there and get taken to UK. You know, it was not easy. The tour just started. You know, everyone was not looking forward for that. Everyone was looking forward, come to Afghanistan, go back home, go back alive, go back survive, go back see your loved ones, you know. So the medics, they do their job on the ground. Everything was sorted. Helicopter arrives, Casevac arrives. They've taken their bodies, you know. And then we continue our move back to the FOB to finish our job. Before we finish our patrol, before we reach the FOB, we can hear on the net from the nurse, from the doctors, from a helicopter, they were saying, Shelley's gone, you know. That day, I will never ever forget in my life, you know. That day is the day that everyone was shocked. Not only our FOB, you know, our regiment was shocked that he was gone. When we reached camp, I was so thankful. All the boys back in the FOB that day, they were there, waiting for us. I was the only Fijian guy on that patrol that time. I was the only Fijian guy. The rest of the Fijian boys, they were back in the FOB. And then, when we got off the FOB, got off our vehicles in the FOB, all the Fijian boys was there. You know, all the English boys, all the brothers in arms was there. People were just telling you, leave the vehicle, leave your weapons. We clean your weapon for you. We clean your vehicles for you. Everything we'll do for you. Please just go. So we end up leaving everything there. We just take our petrol day sacks, our webbings, and our helmets with us. They unloaded our weapons. They cleaned our weapons. They hug us as a brother, you know, because home was really far away from us that time. No one was there for us. These boys was there for us, you know. I was so thankful, you know, of this kind of boys that we have, that we went to war together, you know, we faced things together, you know. They were so good, you know. They, you know, we look after one another. One thing I must tell you guys, when that thing happened to us that day I really deny God as well. Some people think, why this guy is saying this? Okay, I must tell you this. It's like this. 1 minute, you see someone talking to you, your friend, your best mate, your platoon sergeant, anyone talking to you in 1 minute. Another minute, someone comes back to you and tell you, that guy just got passed. That guy just got killed. He's passed away. You won't understand that. You won't believe that. Who the heck is gonna believe that? No one. Because the place where we live as human, it's not a hostile environment. We don't come from a hostile environment. We don't come from a war zone. That's why I deny God. You know? And I was doing that because the way I think, the way I see things, you know, I don't see it in a large picture. I just see it in a small picture, you know. That's how I see it on that day. You know, I come back to my room. Shelly's bed was next to me. And then I was being told, pack up all Shelly's stuff so that all his stuff can get taken back to his loved ones back in UK. All his private stuff, you know. So I was packing all his stuff up, and me and him, because the place was so hot, you know, we end up bought a crate of fizzy drink. It's a Fanta, and we used to have those drinks as a morale booster for us every time. Every time that we come back from the ground, we throw it on the fridge, we go have shower, come back, we have Fanta, just to boost our morale, you know. And that day, when I was packing things, you know, when I was packing things on his grip bag, it was so hard, you know, it was so hard, but I have to do it, you know. Pack all his stuff properly, put it in one side, collapse his bedding, collapse his mosquito net, and put it in one side, waiting for the color boy and his boys to come and pick it up later. And I was sitting in there. Inside me, I was still denying God. And I was thankful that day that I opened up my Bible, and it says in James 4:14, you know, and it says there, you do not know what will happen tomorrow. What is your life? You are a mist that appears for a little while and then vanish. And then from there, I bow down, I ask God for his forgiveness. You know, life is too short. Death is near. Always tomorrow never comes, you know. So, be prepared, everyone, man. Fear God. Trust the process, man. So, everything you do in life, make sure you do it from your heart. Don't do it from your lips, you know. To every little future generation of Fiji out there, before you do anything, think about this. Some of you having good schools, eating good food at home, traveling overseas. Someone at the back there doing the dirty job to put a smile on your face. Remember what I told you guys earlier on about these Fijian men, the ones who drive trucks in Iraq. gives tears to my eyes because these these men, they were supposed to be retired in Fiji already. They're supposed to be at home. They're supposed to be in the village. They're, they're supposed to be next to mom right now. And they risk their life. And they have to come out there just because of you. So that you can be survived. You can become something. You can become someone. You know. That Indian boy who got lost, who got broken up, who went on a wrong turnings during the uphousing from Iraq. That Fijian Indian boy was burst out in tears. Remember? He was risking his life. Boys and girls, I'm doing this podcast today. It's not only about going to war. Boys and girls, I'm doing this podcast today to let you know how parents, how we sacrifice for you guys, you know. We turn nothing into something. If you know that you a kid, you a girl, you a boy, you taking drugs on the streets of Nandi, Suva, Lautoka, around Viti Levu, right now, if you're watching my podcast, I'm telling you right now, think about your mom and your dad. Someone behind you is doing the dirty job. Someone behind you is making you smile. Someone behind you who works hard day in, day out. Rainy season, cyclones, flooding, they still manage to go to work. That's your mom, that's your dad. And if you take this lightly, please think again. Think again. The day when I saw those two gentlemen in Iraq, that Fijian man and that Indian man, my heart cries out. I never say this to anyone else. I hide it. Emotional longu ni reda na turanga ya. Rosa dundu no rosa vade mu ibichi. Sarausi vech kombe kanamba ki ono sanga bulu na ngona ya. They still grafting hard, work hard for you guys. Mom and dad still graft hard, man. Rosia job chuko pokukoa. Mbele chiko patiki yau na ngona darua buli mekina. Na ngona ni buli chikinongo. Na numa chiko ya. Ni sale buli na ngoni bichi na tauke. Ni buli pokukoa. If you listen to these all Fijians out there, whether in overseas or in Fiji or anywhere in the world, if you listen to my podcast, think about your mom and your dad. They were sacrificed. They were doing the job. They were doing the grafting for you guys. You know? We were so lucky. We went to war. We come back survive. You know? Some of our friends, they're going to war. They didn't come back survive. That's one painful thing that I've ever had in my life. To see their loved ones, waiting for their loved ones to come back alive home. No one was there. All these drugs, ecstasy, methamphetamine, cocaine, marijuana, doesn't bring you guys anything, man. It's gonna destroy our family, destroy our nation, destroy everything. You know, Afghanistan, it was so hard. I've had loads of stories about Afghanistan, you know. but I keep it in secret. I can't share it to anyone. It's really hard. Only thing I have to tell everyone out there, you know, we look after one another. Different color, remember this, we become one people. Never mind the color of your skin. Never mind what background you're from. Never mind what you do in life. Never mind what your qualification is. Never mind you go to school or no. We're still one person, one people. We're still human. Color of the skin, that's nothing in front of God. Before I finish my podcast today, I must remind everyone, please, we take care, we look after one another. Look after your mom, kids, boys and girls out there, please. Look after your parents, look after your dad. Thank you very much for watching my podcast, man. I do appreciate it. Please share, like, ring the notification bell. I will be on Facebook, Instagram, on my TikTok account, and on YouTube. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you on my next episode. Vinakavakalevu and Nisa Mother.